The Trump administration completes the largest single-state immigration enforcement action in U.S. history. The two Pennsylvania senators, Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Dave McCormick, find common ground amid a crisis point for the Democrats in the polls. I'm Tony Kinnett, host of the Daily Signal's Tony Kinnett Cast, syndicated nationally at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. This is the Daily Signal's top news in 10. Nearly 1,500 illegal aliens, including foreign fugitives, murderers, and child predators, were arrested in Massachusetts during Operation Patriot, a month-long immigration enforcement action by Immigration Customs Enforcement, FBI Boston, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Enforcement Division of Boston, the Drug Enforcement Agency of New England, and the State Department. Specifically, according to FBI Boston, 1,461 illegal aliens were arrested. 790 of those had significant criminal convictions or charges. Here's a quick overview from Todd Lyons, acting ICE director.
No, and Dana, it was a great operation, and the fact that it was over the course of a month really shows the commitment of the men and women of ICE here in Massachusetts and all over New England. And we took a whole-of-government approach. We used all of our partners to include diplomatic security, the U.S. Marshal Service, ATF, FBI, DEA, to really locate and arrest these criminal aliens. One highlight for this operation is the fact that it was successful because we worked with our joint partners in a sanctuary state like Massachusetts, where it's extremely difficult. Where we had Operation Tidal Wave last month in Florida, there was a week-long operation working with our state partners. That's a state that cooperates with us. Here in Massachusetts, we don't have any cooperations from the local departments or from the state, which makes it extremely difficult for ICE to get out there and find these bad guys.
At a press conference later in the afternoon, Lyons actually took the microphone back from a press secretary who had just taken the podium after a reporter asked why the Department of Homeland Security and other federal agents wore masks during operations.
Why do they wear masks? I'm going to answer the mask question. So, no, not the mask, the mask. So a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorists?
Representative Stephen Lynch, Democrat representative of Massachusetts' 8th Congressional, wasn't very thrilled about the operation.
I just stand in opposition to all that crap. I got to tell you, it's just, this president and this administration is dragging this country down every single day in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of its own citizens. The people he has assembled in his administration are a damn disgrace. It will take years, maybe decades, to repair the damage that Donald Trump and that group of morons and buffoons is doing to this country each and every day.
While rare, there are a few Democrats in Congress who appear to be supportive of enforcing border measures and a more strict immigration policy. One of these would be Democrat Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who joined Republican Senator Dave McCormick for a combined town hall yesterday. Fetterman made it a priority to criticize the Biden administration's handling of the catastrophe down at the U.S. southern border.
A lot. I mean, there was that joke or that quote. It's like, hey, now after a couple billions, that might matter sometime. And now we're talking $37 trillion. And now that's a significant danger for our nation's future, honestly, as well. But if I had to find something in the big, beautiful bill that I could support that, and that's a mistake that our party made, and that's the border. I absolutely support those kinds of investment to make our border security as well now, too. Our party, that's when I've lost some support in my party that I thought the border was really important, and our party did not handle the border appropriately. Not look at the numbers. 267,000, 300,000 people showing up at our border, and we can all agree that's roughly the size of Pittsburgh. Now that's unacceptable, and that's national security issue, and that's chaos. So a secure border, being very pro-immigration, that's as I am as a Democrat. It's like trying to think two things must be true, and sometimes that's put me at the odds of my party and my base to assume that I've changed my values, and that's never changed. That's never changed. Two things must be true, because we can't pretend that we can take care of if there's 300,000 people showing up every month, not once a year, every month. And that's a truth and it was appropriate. And now trying to find a way forward when we both represent the most purple part of America, and now during the middle of all of it, it's like we are going to disagree and vote on different things, but for me, it's about trying to find the things we can win together and deliver those kinds of wins for Pennsylvania and then ultimately for America.
Additionally, the Republican and Democrat senator found common ground on the condemnation of anti-Semitism, like the Islamic terror attack in Colorado, as well as the Marxist attack in Washington, D.C.
This is something that I'm terribly worried about. The growth of anti-Semitism here in our country is something I know Senator Fetterman and I share. After October 7th, I went to Israel, my wife and I went to Israel and sort of saw firsthand the horrific evil that had taken place on that day. But the thing that was most surprising was what we started to see on our nation's campuses, where you started to see these huge rallies and this anti-Semitist hatred really spewed at places like University of Pennsylvania and others. I actually went to University of Pennsylvania, saw these demonstrations. And this wasn't free speech. This was intimidation, in some cases physical violence. A person that was on my campaign was attacked because he had a McCormick hat and he had an Israel flag. And we see this deeply seated in our society. And it's something that we have to stand up against with complete moral clarity. It's something that we have to push back on. It's something we have to require and mandate that our institutions extricate themselves of anti-Semitism, and it's something that you can't have it both ways. You have to stand up with complete strength. And even during the campaign, when I was obviously running as a Republican and Senator Fetterman was supporting Senator Casey, he consistently spoke out with moral clarity. And I think the most important thing we can have is our public officials pushing, our leaders across our institutions pushing and demanding that we get rid of anti-Semitism.
And Senator Fetterman, you've been an unequivocal voice on that.
Yeah, well, I think you can confirm this. The first time you and I met was the 5th anniversary of the Tree of Life massacre. Yeah. He lives in Squirrel Hill, where the congregation is, and then we met there. And that, for me, that really just brought it home. I remember when that massacre happened in 2018, when I was campaigning for lieutenant governor. And now here we are now, and what happened yesterday in Boulder, it's astonishing, the kinds of the rank anti-Semitism out of control, and for me, and as my friend just pointed out, this is just rampant across all the universities, for all these places too. I mean, we really need to call it what it is.
While Fetterman may have the confidence of many Pennsylvania Democrats, the rest of the country doesn't appear to hold confidence in the Democrats in Congress at large. CNN's political polling expert Harry Enton was a bit shocked by certain Republican growth and maintaining other approval ratings on issues ranging from immigration to the economy, despite what many have called a bit of a rocky start to this administration's economic policies.
4 months of the Donald Trump presidency, that you expect that Democrats would have this massive lead on the economy. It ain't so. It ain't so. The party that is closest to your economic views, in November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. Plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible after all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all of this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy? Are you kidding me?
This is new CNN polling.
Yes.
How is that, when we look for trends, how is that trending with other data that you're pulling in?
Yeah, if it was just this one CNN poll, that would be one thing. But take a look at Reuters Ipsos. What do we see here? Party with a better economic plan. Well, in May of 2024, just before Donald Trump was reelected president, Republicans had a 9-point advantage. Look at where we are now in May of 2025. The advantage actually went up by 3 points. Now Republicans have a 12-point advantage when it comes to the party with a better economic plan. And again, this is after months of supposed economic uncertainty in which the stock market's been going bonkers, in which the tariff wars that Americans are against have been going on. And yet, despite all of that, the Democrats are down by 12 points on the economy. This speaks to Democratic problems on the economy better than basically anything that you could possibly look at. The Republicans still hold an advantage on the all-important key issue of the day, and that is the reason why, even if Donald Trump's approval ratings are a little bit lower than they used to be, Republicans are not out of the ballgame because they still have a clear advantage on the economy, whether you look at CNN's polls or whether you look at the Ipsos poll right here, in which they have a 12-point advantage on the economy, Kate.
And also in the CNN data, it does show that Republicans are gaining ground in an area that is key relating to all of this, which is when it comes to the middle class.
Yeah. You know, historically speaking, which is the party of the middle class has been a huge advantage for Democrats. I have polling from NBC going all the way back since 1989 when Democrats had a 23-point advantage. 2016, a 17-point advantage. But by this decade, we already started seeing declines back in 2022 where you saw that Democrats led, but only by 4 points, well within the margin of error. And now in our latest CNN poll among registered voters, which is the party of the middle class, it is tied. This, I think, speaks to Democratic ills more than anything else. They have traditionally been the party of the middle class. No more. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have taken that mantle away, and now a key advantage for Democrats historically has gone adios amigos, and now there is no party that is the party of the middle class. Republicans have completely closed the gap, Kate.
Before you go, check the description to make sure you're subscribed to the Tony Kinnett Cast. It really helps out the show, and make sure that Daily Signal content is always headed straight for your notification window. And join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we sit down with Steve Hilton, gunning for the governor's office in California, and the latest on the Pride Month that wasn't. I'm Tony Kinnett, and this has been the Daily Signal's top news in 10. Take care.